There's a lot of worries about a Chinese housing bubble and fear for their real estate market after a recent 60 Minutes episode showed ghost cities. Joining me to talk about whether or not those fears are unfounded is portfolio manager Joel Wells. Thank you, Joel, for coming.
Thanks.
Now, before we talk about China, your fund was up 39% in 2012. Can you do that again?
Well, while we think we still will see strong returns going into this year, 2013, we may be hard-pressed to replicate those returns because valuations have changed slightly in the space, but we do feel that with the ample amount of global liquidity, that we should be able to have a good year as far as international and emerging real estate goes.
All right, now let's talk about emerging real estate, especially in China. A number of your top 10 holdings are in China. So when you hear about ghost cities and you see them on 60 Minutes, what are you thinking?
Well, I think it's an oversimplification of a potential problem, a longer-term problem in China. Clearly, there are certain aspects in certain markets in China that do show bubble-like characteristics. Exactly. Those markets, especially at the higher end of the market, could potentially be a problem. But overall, China is a very big place. Its markets are very, very different. These are localized markets that deal with local demand. And so to broadly paint a picture in China as one large real estate bubble, we feel is misplaced.
So what are you buying? What are some companies that you own in China?
Well, our exposure to China is generally tactical because it is a policy-driven market. And in policy-driven markets, there are risks that are hard to model out. And so what we're doing is we're looking at good property companies with strong management teams, strong free cash flow generation on a sustainable basis. Some of those companies that we would look at also happen to be state-owned enterprises. They have generally cheaper costs of capital, so they will be able to take advantage of any consolidation in the space going forward.
And a lot of people say as China goes, so goes Brazil, because Brazil sends them all those natural resources. Do you agree with this? And what do you think of the Brazil real estate market?
Well, I certainly think that the Brazilian reliance on exports to China has been an issue over time for the Brazilian economy. We have seen a bit of a dislocation. China is troughing off of a cyclical bottom in their economy. Brazil has not seen the benefits of that yet. But overall as a market, we think there are particularly interesting ways to play Brazil from a real estate perspective. Our preferred approach is through the malls, because that is really tapping into the local demand. That's what we're looking for in emerging market real estate, accessing that aspirational demand as the people bring themselves up the demand curve.
Brazilians want to shop.
They want to shop. They have access to credit now. Wages, there's a great amount of strength in wages. Unemployment is at record low levels in Brazil. So they want to participate exactly like their brothers in the developed markets.
And then finally, after China and Brazil, what other markets in the emerging world do you see as good investments right now in terms of real estate?
We particularly like some of the countries in the ASEAN region. So by there I mean Thailand, the Philippines, Indonesia, because they show a lot of the characteristics that we think underpin the demand for real estate, such as urbanization trends, credit available, mortgage penetration in a certain market that's very low in those markets and increasing as lending builds up. And they have money to spend now, and they're doing so. So we're seeing a proliferation of housing purchases. We're seeing people starting their offices, their first businesses. And so those trends are particularly acute and easy to identify in the ASEAN markets.
And no ghost cities yet?
No ghost cities that I'm aware of.
All right, thanks for coming, Joel.
Well, thanks for having me.
And thank you for watching The Street.